Welcome, Adam.
Thank you so much. So, as Apostle said, it's very important to know that how the households approaches the firewood use, but the main questions that who are those households and where they are exactly and where they are living, which kind of buildings, what type of energy efficiency status, and how they are using the firewood. So this was exactly the main driver of our questionnaire, because we have only a very limited publicly available data on firewood use. Yes, and so this survey, online survey, was conducted in frame of the follow-up project of the BioScreen, so the Live Biobalance project, and so we conducted this survey this spring, so in February, March 2022, in all the 3 countries, and so it was an online survey, and it's a quasi-representative survey because so we had an online panel where the 500 households from each country was randomly chosen, but we cannot say that it reflects or it's representatives in terms of those households which are using firewood, because we don't know again that what is the real sample of the households that are using firewood. And so what I would like also to highlight that so in Hungary, the survey was conducted before the war starts in Ukraine, and in the other 2 countries just after. So it might have affected some answers. So we had altogether 36 questions, so it was quite a long survey. And these 36 questions can be grouped into 3 categories. So one is the building stock. The second one is the heating systems which are in the buildings, and the third one is the firewood use itself. So let's see the first one. So I will only highlight some main outcomes of this survey results, and mainly aggregated data, so which is the average for the 3 countries. So as you can see, an average firewood user which represents the 3 countries are living in a building which is 47 years old, and with an average floor area of 102 square meters. But if we are looking for the distribution, we can see that 2/3 of these households are living in a flat from 50 square meters to 200 square meters, and in a building which is not older than 25 years old. And what is also important that the share of the unused room is quite high. So 1/3 of the households answered that they have rooms that they could heat during the heating season, but they are not heating it because of financial reason, of course. And so regarding the walls, so most of the houses are brick houses, so around 75%, and 15% is adobe houses. Regarding the insulation of the building stock, I try to put the 4 main types of energy efficiency measures to one category, so you can see that the penetration of the new windows or the installed already existing windows is very high, so it's around 90%. And the insulation of the walls, it's around 50%. So what is interesting that the upgrading of the whole heating system is very low. It's only happened in 10% of the households. And what is also important, to highlight the quality of these energy efficiency measures. So we also asked the thickness of the insulation, and so it revealed that in case of the wall insulation, 25% in 25% of the buildings, it's not more than 5 centimeters. And of course, so with these poor energy efficiency measures, there is a big threat that a lock-in effect happens. So the real deep energy renovation, it's not happening, unfortunately, which could decrease the energy demand significantly. And so there is a huge difference among the countries. I think this is very interesting. I would just highlight the wall insulation, which is, according to the survey, in Romania, it was around 70%. But in Hungary, it's only 30%, and in Bulgaria it's between the two, so around 50%. It's also interesting to see how they, how many percent of the households are planning to have insulation in the foreseeable future. And we had the same distribution within the same countries. So Romania is the most promising in this case, and Hungary is the less. And what is also interesting that we also asked questions about the which related to the energy poverty indicators. So income situation, faulty roofs, low quality walls, and etc. And so what and if we cross-check this with the plans, what is happening is that so those households which we can categorize as low-income households, they are planning insulation in a higher share, so around 40%, if I remember correctly, planning to have insulation in the foreseeable future. But in terms of the highest category, it's only 20%. So because of the low regulated prices, those households which could have afford the energy insulation or energy efficiency measures, they don't plan to implement it. So regarding the heating systems, 2/3 of the households are using individual heating appliances, mostly tie stoves and like iron stoves. And so 1/3 is using central heating with traditional mixed heating boilers. And around 45% of the households are solely rely on firewood. And if we are looking at the other 65%, in Hungary, they are mostly using natural gas. In Bulgaria, they are mostly using electricity, and in Romania, they are between the two countries. So they are using almost in an equal share electricity and natural gas as a co-firing fuel. And so what is we also investigated that how many of the households are plan to shift fuels. And so here you can see that around 30% answer that they would like to shift. And in terms of switching the fuel, it's mainly to electricity. And it's what is also interesting that so the natural gas is still has a very high share of willingness to shift, like using more natural gas or completely shift to natural gas. And so regarding the use of firewood, the average spending of the firewood, it's around 500 euros per household per year in the three countries. And so the source of the firewood, it has like a quite various scopes. So you can see that so most of the people are buying the wood from like traditional sources, so from traders or from the forestry itself. But there is a significant share who is consuming the wood from like relatives, as they are saying, or they are cutting for themselves. And there were also some which they didn't want to specify that where the firewood is coming from. we also asked that when they are buying the firewood, and so most of the firewood users are buying so some part before the heating season, but some part just right after the heating season. So only a low share of the households are buying it in one package. So most of the firewood users are buying it in several components. And yeah, we heard yesterday that how important it is to use dry firewood. So we are asked the households that what they think, what is the ideal drying time for firewood, and what is the actual that they are using. And so as we could hear yesterday, so the ideal is between 1 and 2 years. And so it's very interesting that how the firewood user sees. So the average is around 5 months, so less than half year. And the actual drying time, it's around 4 months. And so that's why, of course, they are using wet wood, but they are trying to also mix the firewood, because, of course, using wet wood it's quite hard. So at least they are trying to use as many dry wood as they can. And thank you for your attention.